All right, so today it's the 28th. I did have a meeting this morning regarding SBAC testing. So we're not doing what they call SBAC. So if you're a junior, you will still have testing. It's going to be May 18th to the 20th. They don't have the details of exact times, but they want to do where everybody does it at the same time. You'd have to sign into Zoom with your first and second period teacher, depending on the day. So one day you'll take English, and there's another portion, I don't know if it's English and reading, I forgot what they actually called it, and then one day will be math. So it would actually be only 2 days you have to do it. Details are still emerging. They say by May 6th, we should know all the details, but it is set for around May 18th to the 20th. So some combination of those days. So just a heads up on all of that SBAC slash, they call it, I want to say Easy Bridge, something bridge, Fast Bridge is what it's called, is how they're going to do it. So again, just a little bit of a heads up. If you are a junior, expect more information on that. It is mandatory. So if you don't, like, we have to contact assistant principals and they will be after you guys. But the seniors do not have to worry about it. Seniors will be focusing on senior finals at that time. So if you're a senior, you'll be working on finals during those days. If you're a junior, you'll be testing for the state testing portion, and your finals, it's scheduled for then, but you guys will have a few more days to work on it after the seniors have already taken it, because senior grades are due. So it won't affect seniors during those days. You guys will just be doing your regular Edgenuity stuff, and that's your finals scheduled time. So it should work out good because I only have one sophomore. So all my juniors will be testing state, all my seniors will be doing finals. So, okay, so today we have a new assignment. You guys had a quiz and instruction yesterday. I know I don't like to do that to you guys. It's just the way sometimes it works out. So what's the difference between what we've been doing with Hyperbolas and what we're going to do in this next lesson? So this is a separate section. So it is a separate section of notes. I will be counting each section as part of your notes. So you do need a separate section for this. It is equations of hyperbolas continued. And the difference is that that center is not at the origin. So before, on the previous one, it was always centered so nicely at the origin when we talked about it, and now it's not. And there's formulas to go with it, but again, I don't go to the formulas. I go to like the different patterns that we have, the things that we know, and how we work with it. So here's what center is going to be between, this would be a vertice and this would be a vertice, right? Lowest point, the minimum on this parabola, the maximum value on this. Okay, I think I'm back on. Let me see if I can go back to my share screen. Sorry, I don't know what happened to internet there. Okay, so if these are my vertices, then directly in the middle of the two vertices would be the center. So in this case, this is my center. And my center is going to be at this coordinate of, I'm here at -3, +5. So let's kind of see what kind of questions am I being asked. It says there's a vertex at -3, 6. So what is this coordinate here? Go -3, 6. That is a vertex right there. Yes, this is true. So it says check all that are true. The center of the hyperbolas is at -3, 5. We already said the center was at -3, 5. This is also true. there is a vertex at -5, -5. So -5, -5, or sorry, -5, +5 would be here. That's nothing on our graph. Maybe it could have been a co-vertice, but there's no box there, so we don't know. We don't know our B value, so we can figure out what the co-vertices are, but it's definitely not a vertex, so this is incorrect. The transverse axis is vertical. Vocabulary, again, transverse axis goes from vertice to vertice. This right there is my transverse axis. And in this case, my transverse axis is vertical. It's going up and down, so this is true. It is vertical. If my transverse axis is vertical, then the directrices have to be perpendicular to it. So the directrices would have to go horizontally, right? So the directrices are horizontal lines. That is also true. So the only one that wasn't true was that middle one. 4 of them were true. Of course, if you guys have questions, feel free to put them in the chat or ask me, unmute yourself, whatever is easier for you. Okay, next problem. Again, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go straight to kind of labeling some things first, and then I'll go read through what do we have. So here's a vertice. These are my co-vertices. Directly in the middle of it all is my center. So my value, my distance from my center to my vertice, that distance there is my A. So if I'm at -4 and I want to go to -7, I would go over 1, 2, 3. So this is going to tell me that my A value is equal to 3. What is the distance? Then my B value, B is 1, 2, 3, 4. So the distance from my center to my co-vertice, that distance is my B, and in this case, it's 4. So I know my A and I know my B just from counting on my graph. So what are the things is it asking? It is asking about the focus. Well, in order to find my focus, I need to know C. So if I want my focus, I need to know what my focus are, I need my C value. And I know that C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. So C squared is equal to 3 squared plus 4 squared. C squared is equal to 9 plus 16. So we're here, my C squared is equal to 25. Then C is a value of 5. If C is 5, then I go along my transverse axis, so along the same line that my vertices are on, along this line that the vertices are on, and I count from my center 5. So from my center here, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that my focus is inside the hyperbola, and I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that my focus is inside the parabola. And these 2 points here are going to be my focus. So it says that we have a focus at -9, 1. So I go to -9, 1. Yep, I had one there. I go to 0, 1. 0, 1 is this point right here. This is actually going to be at 1, 1. At 1, 1. So this is not true. At -8, 1. Nope, that's also not true. Then we talk about our directrix. Well, where's our directrix going to be? I know that my transverse axis is going from vertice to vertice. My directrix has to be perpendicular to it. So I know my directrix has to go vertically. It's going to go up and down. If it goes up and down, then it's going to cross through the x-axis. So I know my directrix has to be an x equals equation. So this one's gone. It has to be an x equals. So my directrix is going to be x equals, and if you guys remember from the last lesson, it's my A squared all over C. I know both of those. So it's going to be x is equal to plus or minus A squared. 3 squared is 9 all over my C, which is 5. So I have x is equal to plus or minus, and if I want to figure out that value, it's about 1.8. The reason why I wanted to find the decimal value is because I'm counting from the center. So it's going to be about 1.8. So I count from my center. From my center, I'm going to count 1.8 to the left and 1.8 to the right. So if I'm going to go 1.8, I'm here. Remember when I'm counting from my center, I'm here at -4. Sometimes I like to mark it like this, and I need to go 1.8 to the left, so a -1.8. So if I'm at -4 and I go to the left, -1.8, that puts me at -5.8, right? So I have a point here at -5.8. That's one of my directrix. My other one is going to go to the right, and I'm going to add my 1.8. So I'm at -4 and I add 1.8. That would put me then at -2.2. So my other directrix is here at -2.2. And it would look like this. So I have one at x is equal to -5.8 and x is equal to -2.2. And I look here, it's both of these options. So again, I look at the number where I'm at for my center, and I was at -4. So that's where the -4 came from. And I need to, if I'm going to the left, subtract 1.8. If I'm going to the right, I add 1.8. And again, that came from this value right here. If I go too fast or you have questions, again, let me know. Okay, my next one. Vertice, vertice, co-vertice, co-vertice. So my vertice is going up and down, up and down. So that means if I'm going up and down, my y-axis goes up and down. So it has to be my y value first. If I'm going up and down for my hyperbolas, then it has to be my y value first. So these are x first. That's not going to be the case. Not happening. Okay, the other thing is, where's my center? My center is directly in the middle of these. So my center is going to be here at this point. 0, 1 is my center. So these are counting by 2, so I could see this is at a value of 1. It's in the middle of these 2 points. And it's in the middle of these 2 points. It's going to be where the 2 lines cross. So my center gives me my h and k value. So it's always going to be my x minus my 0. And it's going to be, since it's opening up and down, it's going to be my y minus 1. They're going to be squared. And it's a minus in between. Again, the y comes first because it's up and down. But these are going to be your h and k values, just like we did with ellipses. Underneath these are going to be my a squared is always first, and then my b squared. So what is my a going to be? And I look here, from my center to my vertex, it is a distance of 7. So a is equal to 7. From my center to my covertice is my b value, and the distance from my center to my covertice is a distance of 9. So b is equal to 9. So all I need to do is plug in these values, and I get y minus 1 squared all over 7 squared minus x minus 0 is just x, so just be x squared all over my 9 squared. Sometimes they leave the answers just like this, or sometimes they'll write it multiplied out. So it just depends on the problem. It'll only be one way or the other. So again, pay attention to that, especially since they try to trick you and they just put 7 and 9, which obviously is not correct because you have to make sure to square them. Sure you guys get it all. All right, let's flip it. So now we're getting to where they don't give us the graphs. And when I have these, notice how I'm always using the graphs and counting for my graphs. So I want to make sure then that I sketch this information as I go along. And it doesn't have to be some crazy detailed graph. I just do little sketches. So what information do I have and what is it going to look like? So it tells us we have vertices at 0, -4, and 0, 12. So let's go ahead and put our vertices on our graph. So I'm at 0, -4. There's a vertice. I'm at 0, 12. There's a vertice. So if these are my two vertices, then I know that my graph is going to have to open up and down, up and down. So my center is in the middle of this. This is a distance of 12, right? This is a distance of 4. So the total distance between vertices is 16. Half of 16 is 8. So in the middle is going to be a distance of 8. So if I'm going to go 8 down, I would be here at 4. If I go 8 up from -4, I would be at 4. This is going to be where my center is. It's going to be at 0, 4. You guys see that? Okay, so the other information they tell me is that my foci are all of the same hyperbola are located at 0, -6, and 0, 14. So here at -6, I have a foci, and here at 14, I have a foci. What is the equation of the hyperbola? Well, if it opens up and down, I know it's going to be my y first. So it's y minus k, always with the k, right? Just like our ellipses squared. It's going to be a minus because it's a hyperbola. Then it's going to be my x minus h squared. Remember, it's always a squared first, and then my b squared. This is true for my hyperbolas. I know that a is the distance from the center to my vertice, and we already said that value is an 8, so a is equal to 8. But I need to figure out what my b is. Here's my h and my k, so I have h, k, my a, but I don't have b. So I need to figure out b. What they gave me to help me figure out b is they gave me my c value. C is the distance from my center to my foci, so c is equal to 10. And I know c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. So 10 squared is equal to 8 squared plus b squared. 100 is equal to 64 plus b squared. Subtract 64 from both sides. B squared is equal to 36. And that's exactly what I need right there. So I now know my b squared, I have my a, I have my k, and I have my h. I have everything that I'm going to need. So let's plug it in. So I end up with y minus, my k value was 4 squared minus x minus h is 0 squared all over my a squared. So a is 8. So 8 squared, which is 64, all over my b squared, which we have here, is 36. And of course, I could clean this up to y minus 4 squared over my 64 minus x minus 0 is just x squared over my 36 is equal. They're always going to be equal to 1, so don't forget that piece of it. And so it's going to match up with this one right there. So again, I just put the values down so I could see, okay, well, what is my A? What is my C? They didn't tell me B, but I can easily figure it out. They didn't tell me my center, but I'm able to easily see it's in the middle and what it is. And then we come to our very last one. All righty, so I have a foci at 1, 7, and 1, 13. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on my graph. And the reason why that it's important for you guys to visualize or be able to see is that you need to figure out where your center is. So I'm going to be here. We're going to be here at 1, and I'm going to go to my 7 as a foci and to -13 as a foci. So in the middle of these two, in the middle is going to be my center. The reason we need our center is because we need our H and K value. So from here to here is 13, right? To my origin, and here to here is 7. So from 7 to negative 13 is going to be a distance of 20, right? So if it's a distance of 20, then in the middle of 20, half of 20 would be 10. So if I want to figure out my center, I need to go 10 from my foci down and 10 up. So it's going to be at negative 3. It's going to be my center there. So my center is at 1, negative 3 in the middle of the two. Now my graph isn't to scale, but this is a distance of 10. This is a distance of 10. Those are my C values, right? From my center to my foci. The center has to be directly in the middle of the two. So I have my center at 1, negative 3. That's going to be my H and K value then. Here's my H, here's my K. If my foci are up and down, remember they have to be inside the parabola. That's telling me that my parabolas have to open up and down as well. My parabolas are going to open up and down as well. So they're going to open up and down. The Y comes first. So it would be an equation like Y minus K squared all over my A squared minus my X minus H squared all over my B squared is equal to 1. Again, because it's opening up and down, if it was left and right, then it would be the X value first. Okay, so I know my K and H value, perfect. I don't know A and B. Well, what do I need to do then? Oh, look, they still gave me more information. They gave me my directrix. They said that my directrix is that Y is equal to 64 over 10. That's one of my directrix. Remember, it's a plus and minus. So there's one of them. And I know that this has to be my A squared, and this has to be my C. Look, it all matches. We knew our C from right here. It matches. So I know my C, and if A squared is 64, I know that A would be equal to 8, but I actually just need the A squared anyway, so you don't even have to figure out what A is. But I still need B. What do I know? I know that C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. So my C, 10 squared, is equal to my A squared, which we already have is 64, plus B squared. This should look very familiar to right here. Notice again, we saw this the other day, they use like the same values all over and over. So 100 is equal to 64 plus B squared. B squared is equal to 36. And there's my last piece that I was missing. So I have everything I need to fill it in, and I end up with Y minus. Now be careful, because sometimes you guys want to just write whatever's first here. So sometimes you guys want to put the 1 in here and not the negative 3. So it's a negative 3 squared all over my A, which we said it's A squared is 64 minus X minus 1 squared all over 36 is equal to 1. A negative and a negative is going to make that a positive. Oh, and then you could see here, of course, I wrote it squared. On this one, they didn't square it. They're not consistent. So here, they write it as what's being squared. Here, they write it out as the term squared. So it just depends on the problem. So this one's written in the format of Y plus 3 squared. And instead of 64 squared, they write that as your 8 squared minus X minus 1 squared all over. Instead of 36, they write this as 6 squared is equal to 1. So they're equivalent. It just depends on the problem. They're not consistent about how they do it. But go ahead and match it up. And it's going to be this equation right here. And you're done. So again, today is the assignment. Tomorrow I'll touch base on quiz problems. Very similar to what you've been doing. Same concept throughout it. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you let me know if you get stuck. I'm here to help you guys. Otherwise, you guys have a fabulous day. Enjoy your Wednesday. Bye. Tomorrow, I think it's quiz. Today's assignment. Today's assignment, tomorrow's quiz. You're welcome. Yeah, so it should be assignment today. No problem. Bye, dear.